Hey everybody, welcome back. Nice to see you again. Today we've got some unboxings to do. We've got 4 of these big massive boxes. So let's go and have a look and see what we've got inside. It's probably not a surprise. They are aquariums. I have decided to take the plunge and look at upgrading some of the tanks in the fish room. So let's have a look, shall we? I'll talk you through it. Wow. Got a bajillion packing peanuts. So in here somewhere there's an aquarium. Right, I'll have to dig this out. Okay, give me a second. There we go, got it out. Look at the size of the aquarium compared to the box that it came in. That is quite a packing job they've done there. But still, I suppose that's a good thing. So let's get it out. We'll have a bit of a proper look at it and we'll talk you through why I bought these. So there we go, that's them all unpacked and out of the main boxes. And that's the leftover packing peanuts. I don't know quite what I'm going to do with all of that. I'm sure I can recycle it somehow. But these are little fish room tanks basically. So they are, as you can see here, written on here, 40 by 25 by 25. 40 being the long measurement. But they're going to go on the rack in kind of this orientation, and they're replacing what is currently the snail farm because it's just not very good use of space. So I thought these would be much better, and these are much better tanks as well. So these tanks themselves, they're whatever it is, 25 litres, something like that. They're from a seller on eBay called NACD. £33 delivered each. I think that's a fantastic little bargain. I like the fact they've already got this kind of like paper covering on the bottom there, so I can have them bare bottom and not just have it showing through. But they come with this little mat as well, which will be perfect for my use for them. Yeah, so these are going to replace the snail farm, just because those tanks they're old tanks from B&M or Home Bargains or something like that. I bought them years ago as kind of beta tanks. Excuse me, make a bit more noise please. Oi! Shush! Thank you. So those old tanks, they're cheap plasticky tanks. They're only 5 litres or something like that. No, I can't remember how big they are. I'll measure them in a minute, but they're tiny little tanks. They don't make very good use of the space. They're perfect for snail tubs, which is what I was using them for. But I think now I can use these as little mini breeders or fry tanks, grow out tanks, that kind of thing. This gives me a lot more options. I mean, it's not a massive tank by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a lot bigger than the ones that it will replace. They also come with the sliders, so I thought that was a really good bargain for 33 quid all in. Nice glass tank, including sliders, brand new. In theory, no need to worry about having to clean, reseal, refurbish. That's kind of perfect, just what I wanted. So they are roughly double the size of the tanks that they're going to replace. I'll show you those ones in there. It's the snail farm ones. So they are 12 litre tanks. They're tiny little things, they're a bit rubbish. Well, they're fine, but they're just a lot smaller. So these are roughly twice the size, but they fit in the same area, just a better footprint because of the way that the racking's set up. And in terms of quality, having inspected them, they're fine. Yeah, I really like the fact that they've got the glass sliders. You normally don't get glass sliders for such a reasonable price. Black silicone has been used. The gaps are all fairly uniform, but they're definitely not display tanks as such, but you could use them like that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. Like I say, 33 quid each with the sliders. If I wanted maybe a better look rather than a better quality, if I wanted a better look, I might have bought the tank that I got from All Pond Solutions. That was a square tank, but it was definitely a lot nicer looking. The glass seemed to be a lot clearer. It just had a more premium feel to it, but that tank, it just plain wouldn't fit where I was wanting to use it, so this was really the best option that I could get. And I just thought, you know, another lockdown pending here in the UK. Pull the trigger, get the tanks. I'd spent weeks, if not months, searching through all the Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, eBay, looking for used tanks that fit. And I just couldn't find anything. And even the ones that I did find that could have been suitable, people just expect the earth for second-hand tanks these days, so it's ridiculous. So I thought, I'll bite the bullet, I'll get these. I'm quite happy with them. So these are the tanks that will be getting replaced. These are the small, well, I call them the snail farm at the moment. They're just mostly full of snails that I was breeding for my pufferfish. And we've got a little betta fish in this one on the end. I've got some cherry shrimp and a few of them, and some ram's horn snails and some Malaysian trumpet snails, which I really don't want anymore, so hoping to get rid of a lot of them in the changeover. But we'll swap these out. These tanks, like I say, they're about half the size. There's 12 litres, I think, from Home Bargains here in the UK, which I originally bought as they were going to be part of a betta rack, and I was going to get a load of bettas, but not done that for a few years now, so it's just time for a change. This hole here on this shelf, these shelves are 18 inches deep, so these aren't, so it just makes a lot better use of the space. So the tanks will come up to almost to the edge, but go all the way to the bank. So these ones have got quite a gap at this side, quite a gap at the back, and then obviously a decent gap here, but we'll get in there. Still be enough space to get in the new ones. The new ones will be slightly taller. And just give me a lot more options here of what I can do, whether I want to use them as breeding tanks or fry tanks or something like that. I might be getting some new fish coming shortly, so I might use them for them as well. But also be replacing these lights, so I've got a new light to go up here as well, and just kind of refurbish this bit and make it look a lot better. So the next task is I'm going to drain all these down, at least half. And then I should be able to lift them easy enough, move them out of the way, give it a bit of a wipe down and a clean up, and get the new tanks in. Right then, we've got these 4 new aquariums all set up. What I've done is I've also changed the bottom here, so I didn't think I was going to have to do that because it had the old chipboardy stuff, but it was a little bit warped, so I thought I'll swap it out while I've got a chance. So this is nice thick wood here which won't warp, that'll keep it nice and sturdy for a while here. The only fish that we've gone back in with is the betta tank here, so the betta, the cherry shrimp and one of the baby bristlenose, they're all living in there, and I've used the old tank water in this one just to keep it up to temperature more than anything else. So they're all happy enough in there. All the same filters are used in all the tanks, but these have all got fresh cold water in. But what I've done is I kept all the filters in this tank while that was happening. Give them a good old squeeze out in there, and then give a squeeze into every tank, just so they've got a little bit of the old stuff to keep the filters seeded, because they're not going to be fish in here for a while until they get up to temperature. So I'm not going to do anything else tonight, that's just going to be as is tonight. This one for heat, I've got a heat mat which stretches under these 2 tanks. I've got another one for these 2, but I haven't put it in yet. So that's going to bring these up to temperature. I find this is quite an economical way to go. Generally brings them up to about 24 degrees. These particular ones that I've got have a thermostat, so I can turn them down if I need to, if I want it a bit cooler. But it's quite an economical way of heating the tanks themselves. So overnight they'll come back up to temperature. This one is ambient room temperature, which is kind of 22-23 degrees in here anyway, so that's fine. I've got a little thermometer to double check that, so that's okay. But I will be putting another heat mat under these 2, so that I can control that a little bit better tomorrow when I get some new fish in there. So we'll leave it there tonight, let everything come up to temp, let everything settle down, and we should be good to go tomorrow. Right, another day, another massive parcel. So this one's just turned up. I'm assuming that is the other aquarium that I've ordered. Although it does say it's got liquid in it, which I'm a bit worried about. But let's open this one up and see what we've got. So here we go, we've got the tank out. I will say one thing about people who make tanks and sell them to be shipped, really know how to do the packaging. That was very well packed. The other tanks as well, they were also very well packed. So it's come completely unscathed. The main differences I've noticed about this tank is obviously it's got clear silicone, but the glass looks a lot clearer as well. And I think the clear silicone with the low iron glass makes it look that little bit more premium. So you could definitely use this as a display tank. It's like a nice rimless tank. There's no, what do you call them, little shelves for a lid or anything like that. So it is a nice, premium looking display tank, a little bit like the Alpine Solution one, just scaled up a little bit. Slightly different dimensions. This one is 40 centimeters by 50 centimeters. So this will go end on my larger rack. It's going to be the end tank. So I'm going to have this one and then a larger kind of 4-foot tank next to it is the plan, but just need to save up a little bit before we get that one. Yeah, so very happy with this. This is from another eBay tank. This is from Aqualive or Aqualive. They actually give you quite the nice care sheet, tell you how to unpack it, how to take it out, how to wash it. They even talk a little bit about cycling a tank and what is cycling and why it's important. And the thing about always use a mat underneath, strips all the way around. That's the floating base, if you like. That's the bit that the tanks actually sit on that, and it's the plastic that sits there. But with tanks like this, it's just glass. So if a little pebble or something gets under there, and we put that down, fill it with water, and it weighs an absolute ton, that just creates a massive pressure point in a tiny little place. Spill, disaster. So you don't want that. So I use polystyrene in the fish room under all my tanks anyway. So that shouldn't be a problem. Just a quick little tip in case you're planning on having it on a desk or something like that. But really good quality. I'm just looking at all the seams. I've had a quick look at them all. They all seem pretty good, pretty neat. Yeah, perfectly happy with this one. So we'll get this cleaned up, I'll give it a quick swish around, a wipe down, and we'll put it in the fish room and have a look. Another day, another box. So this one hopefully has some fish in it though. I have already opened it and had a quick look, but we'll show you inside and have a look. So very similar packaging to the packaging I use. In fact, almost identical, I would say. So in here we have something from the same guys that sent me the gift voucher for the prize bag in the last video, Aquarium. They've sent me a few of their Endler Guppies that they've been breeding. So we've got a bag of blue star Endlers, looking very happy and healthy, swimming about in there. Luckily double bagged because I can see a bit of water into the second bag there. But they look quite good. And I think some tiger Endlers as well. Again, looking quite happy. So I'm going to get these floating. In fact, if I look at these blue stars again, I don't know if you can see that in there, but there's a bunch of babies in there as well. I'll have to have a look at that in a minute. But let's go and we'll get them floating in the fish room. Right, so here we are later in the evening. All the fish are in, all the tanks are in, all the lights are set up, everything's done. I'll give you a bit of a sweep. So we've not changed anything at the top, but I am going to swap out that tank for one of these tanks, so that's a bit more uniform. We've got the 4 new smaller tanks in here, but we've effectively doubled the capacity on this shelf, and it looks a lot nicer as well. In here we've got the fish that I was sent by Aquarium. These are tiger Endlers. A couple of pairs in there, and they are pretty awesome. Look at the colours in them. They're quite skittish still. They're obviously just still settling in. But look at that. That's something a bit special. And then in these ones, we've got a load of fry and everything in here. These are the blue star Endler Guppies. and I think there's a bit of a mix of the kind of lyre tail or twin swordtail, twin or single swordtail, twin sword. I'm never quite sure which method to describe them, but they are also pretty colourful for only being in a few hours. So I am loving these guys. So more on them in the future. Down here we've got my repaired tank. I can't remember if I've told you about this, but this is a bit of a bodge where I've used some silicone to shore up this tank and get it up and running again. We've got the Pleco breeding tank over here. So we've got this big new tank up and running now. Nothing in it yet. I did have some plans for that, but they kind of fell through. And we'll update you more on that in the coming weeks. This is tank still to be replaced. This is the one that I'll go for next. I'm going to again get one that's the same depth as this, because this one goes all the way to the back, whereas that one doesn't. Get one that's the same depth as that, utilise this whole space. I think it gives me about 200 litres or so in that tank. Up here we've got just some of the guppies in here, doing really well, looking really colourful. These are available on my website at the moment, but I'm thinking we've just entered another lockdown in here. I've noticed some postal issues, so I'm thinking I might take the live fish off sale for the time being, or if not off sale, at least only do the priority shipping at the moment. So if you are thinking of placing any orders, either check out the website, I'll get round to updating it at some point, or just let me know. We've got the pea puffers in this one, they're doing great, and then the discus in that one. No action as yet, but they have been doing lots of pecking at that cone recently, so you never know. And then over here, of course, we've still got all the angels, which are still looking fantastic. So it doesn't look like I've changed a whole hell of a lot, but I have done a thorough clear out of this room. It's looking better to me. I think I'm much more enjoying the space and the layout of everything, if nothing else. Hopefully everyone's a bit more up to speed now. Remember, we've got the giveaway going on. We've got the hashtag AA10K. Comment on any of my social media pages, so Instagram, Facebook page, or comment down below. Make sure you subscribe, so you have to subscribe as well. That's part of the deal. You subscribe to me and then you get a chance to win all this stuff. More and more will be getting added in the coming weeks as we get there. I've got some more news coming up on the channel soon. We're going to be starting to release some more new products for sale. So quite excited about that. Make sure you keep subscribed so you can check that out when that comes along. But for now, I think we'll leave it there, and thank you very much for watching. I hope that wasn't too long, boring / rambly or things like that, but we'll catch up with you soon. See you in a bit. Bye!